So I just heard the interview that Boxing Voice did with Joel Diaz. First, I want to obviously give a shout out to Boxing Voice for getting the interview. Um, I know a lot of you guys don't know this, or like in media, whenever there's a conflict, it's really and there's two sides or in the public, it's really challenging to get the exclusive interview. And reason why is there's multiple reasons, but I would say the first two is you don't want to step on each other's toes because of the two parties have history together and they don't know what to say, when to say, and how to say it. And two, it's ultra competitive getting an exclusive interview. So I just want to shout out Boxing Voice. I just got done listening to it and I was real fascinated by it because I'm actually a fan of Joel Diaz. And you guys know how I feel about Timothy Bradley on my channel. But I remember, and now this has so much weight on it too because I left the Jesse Vargas fight, and literally I'm right next to Joel Diaz. It's me and a few other media outlets, and it's their camp leaving. It's 11 o'clock at night. The fight is over, maybe midnight, and we're leaving the StubHub Center. And I tell Joel Diaz, I said, Joel Diaz, I says, Timothy Bradley needs a cupcake fight. He's been in too many wars. And Joel Diaz quoted, and he says, "It's not me, it's Tim." And listening to Joel Diaz interview, I can't help but think that Timothy Bradley and his wife has a plan that did not include Joel Diaz. So he probably was out of that fight. That probably was his last fight, regardless. And you can feel the tension because I ignored the tension because it was passive. But hindsight's always 2020. So now that I'm reflecting on that moment, and even at the press conference, it all adds up to where we are now. And Joel Diaz said something that was really telling. He said that Timothy Bradley chose his wife over Al Haymon representing him, which is shocking as his manager and advisor because, uh, as we all know, Al Haymon has a lot of power and a lot of money on his side, and they're doing a really good job at putting all these fights together. And yes, it's true. Not all the fights are great fights, but they're giving us something to do besides watch boxing in the summertime. I mean, excuse me, besides watching baseball in the summertime, because baseball don't get interesting until mid-September anyway. If your favorite pitcher isn't pitching or your favorite hitter isn't actually hitting, so um, but I appreciate what PBC is doing with Al Heyman, Sam Watson, with all is doing. I also appreciate what other people are doing. Just like Golden Boy picked up the torch the last quarter of this year, and they're running with it. It's three great fights they're putting on. But getting back to Timothy Bradley, I, I'm I'm just bewildered. Like they always say, like never forget where you came from. Always support the people that support you. Uh, and whenever you build your foundation at ground zero, you you more than likely want to keep them on your team because they know you, and two, they know your secrets, and they genuinely know what's best for you. And I know Teddy Atlas is a tough trainer, so I hear. I've never seen him in the gym before, but how can you go against Joel Diaz? In the interview, Joel Diaz said he was about to turn down $4 million. If he gets 10%, I don't know what their agreement is, but let's say he's getting 10% of that purse. He's grossing $400,000 off of 6 weeks of training. That's an insane amount of money. So um, I genuinely believe that Joel Diaz had his best interest at heart, and I say that based off of that last question or phrase or statement that I told Joel Diaz and his energy towards me and him saying it. And I'm a huge fan of Timothy Bradley, and how he wins, he has to go 12 rounds. Timothy Bradley cannot win by knockout at at the level that he's fighting at. If he fights some B's and C's type fighters, or a guy that to stand in front of him and trade, quite possibly he can knock you down, quite possibly knock you out. But Timothy Bradley got you better pay attention type of power. He don't have power where he's gonna knock you out and um, you're gonna be concussed. So how he has to win, Jesus, man, I just feel entirely bad for the kid because how he has to win. And two, your trainers is like your best friend. They hold your secrets from um, to how much money you make, the women you're dating, your kids, the problems you're having with your marriage. And the reason why I know this is because I've had coaches and assistant coaches and teammates that I confide in that I would never ever tell, like my family and my friends, etc. And they hold these secrets to be true, you know. And I don't want this to end this way, and I know the boxing community don't want this to end this way. But I'm waiting for his wife's statement and or interview. I'll be interviewing her for the November 7th fight. Hopefully, I'm able to go. I have some family obligations I need to take care of on that weekend, and but I may not make Vegas. But I want to interview her and ask her a few questions. I also want to ask Timothy Bradley. Timothy Bradley has been really cool with me in terms of my access to him, and I've asked Timothy Bradley tough questions about does he believe he's healthy, to asking him stuff about what type of music does he listen to. So Timothy Bradley has been really good to me in terms of getting access and me ask and giving me time when there's 20, 25 other media outlets out there. So I believe in due time I'll be able to ask Timothy Bradley questions and potentially I can get sincere answers from him. And but it's just telling when best friends break up. You know, it's like, why does this have to happen? You know, I don't think at 32, 33 years old, there's not many things that you can improve upon as a boxer. You know, you've been concussed anywhere between, let's see, 15 to 25 times over the course of your amateur and professional career. Um, you've slowed down tremendously because a 6-week camp is brutal on the body, and in addition to the sparring, in addition to the actual fight. So there's not much you can improve on. You can change the mental approach and the game plan, but your physical attributes should remain the same at 31, 32, not unless you're on steroids or taking some type of performance enhancing drug. So let me know what you guys think. I love engaging with you guys. I know our community is small, but we're growing inch by inch. And let me know what you guys think. Please listen to the Boxing Voice interview. I thought it was telling. He said things been going downhill ever since he signed her on as his manager. I can't speak on it because I don't know the wife. I've rode on the bus with her. Press rode on the bus with her. So I wrote, and that's the extent of my relationship with her. I've interviewed her, but it was nothing on the lines of boxing, just merely on family and Timothy Bradley's background. How did they meet? So just real surfacey stuff. So so I have no background or no recollection of even have an intimate relationship. I'm not, excuse me, not intimate conversations with her about boxing and Timothy Bradley. So let me know what you guys think. I think Joel Diaz and Timothy Bradley was a match made in boxing heaven, you know, and it hurts me to some degree, but we'll see November 7th what Teddy Atlas will add to Timothy Bradley. We know he won't add power, so and maybe a little bit more angles. I don't know. We'll see. Teddy Atlas been outside the game for a minute, and it's also interesting too. Just a sidebar: Teddy Atlas works for PBC slash ESPN. I don't know if the contract was carried over or they had to redo contracts, but and now he's doing an HBO fight. How interesting is that? So because we all know HBO and Al Haymon and Showtime are at odds ends, but you know, someone has to be McDonald's, someone has to be Burger King. So that's the reality of capitalism. So Barbershop Conversations, appreciate you guys' support. And let me know what you guys think about the Joel Diaz, Timothy Bradley situation that we have brewing. And it should come to head pretty soon because there's going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of questions thrown at Timothy Bradley because he has a fight coming up in the next 5 weeks. So, Barbershop Conversation, hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate you guys, and tell a friend, and we'll move forward from here. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.